All right, let's go. So, welcome to another episode of eCom Raw Reality, where we talk all things e-commerce, Facebook ads, Google ads, email, whatever is necessary. And right now, I would say one of the most important things, because we are mid-June, around this time, 2025, and one of the most important things for most e-commerce brands, it's basically summer. So, since it's summer, and this is how advertising usually works, you do need to have relevancy, right? And just to give an example, right now during summer you wouldn't really promote winter clothes, right? There are some people who will buy, that's for sure. I also buy in bulk, let's say supplements, right, during different times of the year when they are cheaper. But that doesn't mean that most people will do that, right? Just because if you think about summer in general, if you look even at cigarette ads from back in the day, what they were always focusing on, having a good time. And when do you usually have a good time, right? It's usually just like right now with me, in nature, going out, feeling like you have this freedom, right? Because that's why psychologically we feel good when we are outside. We can see so far ahead, right? It feels like we just have more freedom than being stuck, let's say, in our room, which is most of our work if we are remote and are in front of our computers all day, because that's how the world is right now, which for some of us is a blessing, for sure. But with all of that being said, let's look at ads, because advertising was and will be one of the main ways to actually get sales for a brand. That's one of the closest ways you can get to actually making money for a brand. And I actually have a call in a few minutes here when I'll get home with someone who is basically talking right now with a skincare brand, and they need help with advertising because there are so many things that you could do in advertising, right? Let's just look at the summer as an example. There are multiple ways to actually promote it, because when you think about summer, you think about being out. For example, look at my clothes. I mean, I don't know if you can actually see, but I'm in a shirt, right? Like I'm not in a hoodie. I'm not in something that most people wouldn't wear during this time, right? And by that, I just want to showcase that it's still about relevancy and being where people are, right? Because if they are outside, you won't sell them like coffee, you know? Like that's not something that you would typically drink when you're already hot. For example, right now, I'm already sweating, right? I'll probably drink a coffee when I get home, but honestly, like it's not the best option. That's why later I'll probably drink some BCAA drink, which is more refreshing. And by that, I just want to highlight how important it is to do the right thing at the right time. Because as you can imagine, and you might have examples in your life when you've done something that is right on paper, however, because it wasn't the right time, it just didn't work out. Imagine as an example, you find your soulmate, right? But you try to propose on the first date, for example, right? Will it work? Unlikely. It's not the right timing. Same when you're selling. When you're selling, let's say, a drink, you have a higher likelihood of actually getting that sale during the summer, because people are already looking for something to drink, right? Like, what's the easiest way to sell to someone? Or like, where would you find a group of people that are very easy to sell to? Well, anywhere where there's a starving crowd. If, for example, you're going in the desert, then of course water will be in high demand. If you go, let's say in, I don't know, Iceland, then unlikely to sell a bunch of drinks, right? Just because it's not the perfect location for that. So let me just recenter our face here. And coming back to what I was saying, when it comes to ads, it's all about just asking the right questions, because nowadays, unlike a few years ago, basically you can just go on ChatGPT and ask it the right question, which would be, give me 25, because why not, higher volume, give me 25 ideas for summer ads. And of course, the first variation, the first drafts that it will give you, they will probably suck, because ChatGPT, without any kind of help, without prompting, without additional context, doesn't really work well. But that's where your experience actually comes into play, because when you see the first draft, you can actually find the gaps. What isn't it focusing on? Is it the fact that it's not very direct response? Is it that it's not friendlier in its tone and voice? Or what are the angles that it's actually giving you? And I'm saying that because every brand is different. Every brand has a different way of selling. Some brands want to be more stylish. They want to be more on brand, let's say, so you can't really be very direct response and everything. And honestly, it's a spectrum. Like myself, I don't care that much about what a brand wants, because I know I can actually work with anything. Even if it's a brand that wants things to be more on brand, then we'll just do that. And if it doesn't work, then we'll have an answer, because we could also test the opposite. More direct response, more, I would say, salesy. And you have to be aware of things that work and things that don't work. Just like, for example, this type of videos that I'm making right now. They are not the best type of videos, but they are ones that I enjoy, and they still help with visibility and all of that, right? With the personal brand. So it's not the best way, but it's one of the better ways at this moment in time, considering multiple other variables. And I would say in most cases with advertising, this is what you need to do, to look at where you are and then do the next best thing. And during this time, during summer, it's all about just planting more seeds that are relevant for the summer. So just as a few examples, because of course, like this is what I'm doing with many of the e-com brands I'm working with. And one of the things is actually having copy regarding summer in the headline, in the actual body copy. Then also making sure that the images, the videos have something related to summer. So it could be just images outside, because imagine if you see someone or an ad right now with someone that's outside and wearing, let's say, a hat, you know, like when you have so much sun that even in a shirt, it's way too much. And the main reason why that is important is because imagine what you're doing as a consumer or as a user of Instagram or Facebook. You are scrolling, right? You are looking over things that you are interested in. You are looking at your friends. You are looking at people you follow, brands you follow. And most of them during this time, most of your friends are probably out and about, right? Unless they just want to post videos or images with them in their room, which is not really the norm. So basically, in the feed, your ads will feel more organic if you actually have something that's very similar to what everyone else is seeing, right? Because, for example, even right now, it's summer, right? I'm doing videos outside. So basically this is relevant. Someone who also lives in Europe or wherever in the world where there's summer, they will relate more, just because you pretty much know this is when I'm filming it, this is relevant for right now. I'm actually talking about a subject that's very relevant right now. And this is very important. That's why, for example, in most cases, even if you get like a webinar that's worth $1 million from a few years ago, right? You get a replay of it. Most likely, you won't really take that seriously as going to a webinar right now live, even if the newer webinar is better, you know? And it's worse. Sorry, not better, it's worse. So you would probably still take the live one more seriously because of its recency and relevancy. And I wanted to say that just because sometimes, honestly, even when working with brands, it's all about making sure that the expectations are there. And it's not like if you have summer ads, you'll just crush it, you know? It's not like that. It won't like save your business or anything, but it will help 10, 20%. And this is what, like, look at Google, look at Microsoft, look at most brands out there. They can't grow more than 10 to 20%. And that's because it does mean that you are at a point where you've already maximized some of the gains. And for example, these are the type of brands that I also tend to work with. The ones that, let's say, to some extent at least, have a certain level of good quality product, of product market fit, and they did get some sales on their own, right? And then it's just coming in and helping them grow even more, right? It's much easier to grow a six-figure brand to 7 figures to 8 figures than one just starting out to get to like 6 figures, because there are so many things that they actually need to take care of. But that's why we are only talking about ads, about making them relevant, and making sure that they look. So one thing is that they look, and second, that the copy and everything also is relevant. Because sometimes you get just like a split of a second, right? With text, you actually need to read and everything, but with images and videos, it's just like watching it and seeing it. So I would say for today, that's pretty much it. So if you have any comment, anything you want to add, you can do it down below. And until next time, peace out.